What up? What up? It's Mike and EJ Sportscast, and it's an exciting day. We been hearing a lot of rumors about the Bears and Russell Wilson. Pretty excited about that. We don't know how true it's gonna be, but I kind of want to start off with that and get your take on that. How would you feel about having an instant elite quarterback on the Bears roster?
I mean, that'd be great if that could actually happen. I mean, he'd be better than any other quarterback we've ever had, hands down. Like, immediately, he makes us a better team. The only question would be, okay, so let's say we did get him. What will we have to give up to get him? That would be the thing, because I'm pretty sure the Seahawks gonna be asking for a lot.
True.
And if we end up getting him, it's like, oh, who's he gonna be throwing to? Is Al Robinson gonna stay? You know, that'd be a good question. It's like, do they plan on drafting a wide receiver? Would we end up giving up that first pick that we have? So it's just a lot of questions about it. But man, if we could somehow get him and like just maintain like at least a little bit of like what we got, don't give up too many like great assets, that'd be
Hmm.
awesome. But as a Bears fan, you try not to get your hopes up, because we don't been let down so much, especially at the quarterback position. But we'll see.
That's true. Um, I know that the offer for somebody like Russell Wilson is going to be. I feel like it's going to break the bank.
Heck yeah.
They're probably going to ask for automatically for three first rounds,
Mm-hmm.
your second round, your third round, like probably your whole this year's draft. They're going to want for that guy.
Yep.
And I mean, if you see the history of the first round picks and the second round picks that we've had, especially since we've had Ryan Pace, they've kind of been wasted picks. There's been a couple of players here and there, maybe one or two out of that list that's still playing, but the majority are either elsewhere or not playing for us at all. Um, but I'm willing. I mean, I'm willing to trade whatever it takes. Like you said, that guy would instantly be the best quarterback we've ever had. Um, just to show some of the stats that he's put up over time. Like this dude comes in throwing 3,000 yards his first year. Now, granted, he had Pete Carroll, he's an amazing coach if you ask me. Like to me, he's a legend. Uh, Created the Legion of Boom with with all those drafts that he had because I'm pretty sure he drafted Cam Chancellor and Earl and Richard Sherman. I'm pretty sure he drafted all those guys. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
you got to give him the props for putting that together. They won a Super Bowl, but ultimately though, like look at these numbers. Like and Russell Wilson wasn't like always this coveted quarterback. I don't know if you know his earlier career before he became a professional player, he had to transfer schools because he wasn't going to be the starter at his original school that he chose to be at. Then he transferred out to Wisconsin and balled out for the Badgers, and that's how he got his recognition. Pete Carroll drafted him, and the rest is history.
Yep.
So it's like this dude's already used to adversity. That I don't know. This guy, he would be an amazing fit here in Chicago. He has all the intangibles we need. If Brian Pace can make this happen, he just needs to find a way to make this happen, bro.
Dude threw like 40 touchdowns last year. Like, has Mitchell Trubisky thrown 40 touchdowns in like the last 2 seasons? Like, good lord.
These are Mitchell Trubisky's numbers.
Yeah, look at that.
He hasn't even thrown 30 touchdowns in the season yet,
Yeah.
which to me, as a quarterback, I would want to average at least 30. That means that you're at least throwing about two per game. You're actually helping your team. Um, Now, me and you were talking a little bit about the touchdown to interception ratio. 24 touchdowns, that's his most touchdowns. But he
Yep.
also had his most turnovers. So he was
Hmm.
throwing the ball more, getting picked off more. Not even counting the ones that should have been picks.
Yep.
Needless to say, this is just average at best. We need somebody like Russell Wilson or the guy that we wanted to talk about today, Kyle Trask. If somebody that's gonna sling it, put up some touchdowns, don't be afraid sometimes. Have a little Cutler in you. Because I mean, one thing I'll say about Cutler is that he was not afraid to throw that long ball.
Heck
He
no.
wanted big plays. He wanted touchdowns. In fact, sometimes I used to get mad at him, and I'd be like, "There's a guy right in front of you. Just chuck it down." And he's throwing into like triple coverage. I'm like, bro, you look back on the film, you're like, bro, this guy would have got you like 20 yards if you would have just dumped it off. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yep.
but it's like at the end of the day, you lived with it because it's like this guy was slinging sometimes, and he would have those games where you'd be like, "This is the guy we need. This is the guy we wanted." But needless to say, though, the Bears they have a good opportunity right now. I feel like the QBs are everywhere right now. It's not easy to get a good one over here, but it's kind of easy. Like you see, the Rams went out and got Matthew Stafford. We can go and get Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But ultimately, do you think that we're going to pull the trigger?
Man. I mean, they got to make a splash, man. Because honestly, this is it for Nagy and Pace. If the Bears don't do something this year, like I mean, actually make like strides, like look like they can potentially like make it in to playoffs, but actually like make a run.
Mm-hmm.
These dudes ain't coming back, so it's like they gonna have to do something. And I know they probably been on the phone trying to figure out what they can do. I'm pretty sure we might end up seeing something close to the draft, like maybe like a draft day deal or something. But honestly, they got to do something. I mean, honestly, I think getting a veteran will be awesome. But it's like a lot of the problem is they kind of screwed themselves over. All right, let me say this. They kind of screwed themselves over when they were like on that super long losing streak. We think, all right, they won't tank the rest of the season, get a top draft pick. But then they
Right.
decided, okay, we're gonna start winning games, finish 8-8, making to the playoffs. So they got a worse draft pick now. So it's like you can't teams. A lot of teams that's gonna be asking for players, they gonna want a higher pick than what the Bears have. The Bears what draft 20th this year? They gonna want a
Yeah.
higher pick than that.
20. Yeah, 20. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have no that pick doesn't really have that much value. Yes, a first
No.
round is in like the top 20, but it's like unless you like the top 5, your pick really ain't got that great of value. Top 5, like top 10, like
Right.
nobody's gonna really care about that pick. So they kind of screwed themselves over with that. But
They really did.
yeah, man, because it's like if you had like let's say they had a top 5 pick
Mm-hmm.
and they could offer one of their players, like one of their key players in a trade, they will teams will instantly because it's a quarterback heavy draft. It's teams that need quarterbacks still.
Right.
So it's
That's true.
like teams like, oh, I can get this top 5 pick plus another asset from the team that I could add to help this top 5 pick or whatever. That would give teams more incentive to like take the Bears calls like, hey, what you want such and such for this top 5 pick and or Khalil Mack or this top 5 pick and like, oh, we decide to do like a franchise tag and then trade Allen Robinson, something like that. But right now they got the 20th pick, so it's gonna be like honestly, it's gonna be hard to get one of these top quarterbacks. So I'm not. I try to stay optimistic, but it's hard because it's like, man, how can they get anybody when they really ain't got no like draft? Nobody like they don't have a top draft pick, and then they really don't have that many assets on offense. Like they
That's
got
true.
Allen Robinson, but he's not signed. So it's like,
Right.
who's gonna want anybody from the team? Like their best players are all on defense. So it's like
And they're old.
exactly, and they all getting older. So it's like they really don't have like the type of like assets that people are gonna really want. So I don't know, man. I want to stay optimistic about it, but it's like I feel like honestly, the most realistic option for them is to get one of these guys in the draft, but you banking on, okay, is this guy going to be the guy? Is he going to take us to the next level? That's like, who knows? Like, how often do you see a rookie get a team to the playoffs?
Right. And I
So
mean, you see the rookie like Justin Herbert. He was going out there throwing bombs, and his touchdown to interception ratio was like ridiculous for a
yes,
rookie, and they didn't win any games really.
yeah,
Now that was not on him at all. The defense was terrible because they were letting up like 30 plus points a game.
yep,
But the odds of us getting somebody like that, especially if we don't get into the top 5, like you're saying, are like really, really low. There's a lot of quarterbacks, like you said, out there, but nothing is guaranteed.
yep.
And then with the 20th pick, do you really want to spend that pick on a QB that is not a top 5 pick? So it's like, well, yeah, they put themselves in a terrible spot. I don't know. We should have never made as much. Like at the time, I was happy. We're in the playoffs. But at this point, I'm like, yeah, you guys should have never made the playoffs. Even if they would have missed the playoffs, say they would have lost that last game, or if the Cardinals would have won their last game and they got into the playoffs, the Bears still probably would have had the 19th pick or like the 18th pick. Still not that good.
Yeah.
When they went on that losing streak, like you were talking about, they should have just tanked. But it's not always up to the team. It's the players. They want to win. They don't want to go out like suckers because they're not thinking long term. Like, yeah, we want the draft picks because they're not the owners. They're the players. They want to win. Like
Exactly.
when you go do something, you compete. You want to win. So I get that. I understand that. But if you're gonna go out and compete and make it to the playoffs, then make some noise in the playoffs. They'll be out there dropping easy touchdowns like Javon Wims.
Yes.
So
thank you.
That still haunts me. By the way, I can't watch that. It was a terrible. Like, how are you calling yourself a receiver, bro? Like, big moment. Anyway, but we'll see. I'm more interested in moving on and seeing some of these highlights though from Kyle. I know that you wanted to show some of his highlights. And he might, believe it or not, he might fall down to 20. I take him with my 20th overall pick. If just him, because I've seen some good stuff out of him from what I've seen on my own.
Yeah, and it's like it's just so many quarterbacks in this draft, man. Like it's who knows you could like you got, what do you call them? Sunshine with the first pick from
Trevor Lawrence.
yeah, from
from Remember the Titans.
yeah, from Remember the Titans. You got him going the first pick. Then a lot of people think Zach Wilson's gonna get drafted second. And then it's like from there, it's like, oh, just Mac Jones. You want to get Mac Jones, and
Fields.
yeah, and you got Justin Fields. It's like it's just so many quarterbacks. So it's like, I mean, I'm kind of excited because I feel like the Bears, regardless of what happens, feel like they still might draft the quarterback. They need to. I don't think they should do it
Right.
their first pick, but who knows? But
Right.
I was looking at a few mock drafts and I seen Kyle Trask. And I'm like, all right, let me see some highlights of this kid. And him at Florida, I'm like, okay, he looks pretty impressive. Now, like a lot of quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, even in college, they tend to make mistakes. So he's not perfect, but at the
Right.
same time, he looked pretty impressive. Like I'm gonna put up the stats real quick, and then I'm gonna show the highlights. So these are his stats last year. Those are some pretty solid stats.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Like them numbers, the 5 interceptions are just wild. Those are like Aaron Rodgers type numbers.
Exactly. Granted, this was in college. It's not the NFL, but still, those are some pretty good numbers. Like Zach Wilson's numbers weren't even that good. So it's like, okay, this kid will be an option. But I'll show you some of his highlights, and then we can talk about him some more. So here's some of his highlights.
All right.
So the guy he just threw to Pitts, that dude, he's gonna be a top pick. He's probably gonna be the first tight end taken in the draft. But like, look at this kid's arm strength, man. His ball placement is really good.
And he looks like he's a pretty tall guy too.
Yeah, he is. There's Kadarius Tony.
Oh, okay, that's the guy that we're also getting linked to.
Yeah, that's another guy that see. Look at that throw, that perfect back shoulder throw to Pitts. Pitts,
Yeah,
Pitts. Honestly, that's the dude.
that's a good catch. That's a good
Yeah,
catch.
that was a good freaking catch.
Ooh, yeah, he throws spirals.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
got.
that. Tight spirals, man. I like that.
He has some weapons though on Florida last year. That
So this
kick.
is this is a guy from the Gators. So this guy is projected to go what?
Well,
20?
the mock draft that I saw had him going in the second round. If he falls in the second round,
Ooh, I'll grab him in the first round then.
yeah, you can honestly. If I'm the Bears, like I would take a hard look at this kid. Like honestly, I feel like he could be a sleeper.
He kind of throws like Philip Rivers a little bit.
Yeah,
Ooh, good throw. Yeah, yeah. No, I like what I see from this guy, man. I'm getting excited, man, because we're getting closer every day, obviously, towards this draft, and we're in March now. We've been waiting since what? Since we lost that Saints game, you know.
yep.
So we've been talking about the draft, waiting for the draft, but I'm excited. The kid looks great. Um, I believe we showed Newman last time 2 weeks ago, and he's looking good. So like, there's some good guys out there. Like, it's low key a QB friendly draft this year,
Very.
where you can take some chances. Maybe now, I'm kind of teeter tottering with the first round pick of maybe wanting to pick up a QB, but I'm more really leaning, to be honest, towards a solid lineman that's gonna come in and instantly start.
Yep.
Because let's be realistic. Even if we draft a quarterback, even if he's a top 5 guy, with the line that we have, you saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes. Imagine a rookie. He's not gonna be balling out. No, there's not a high chance that he's gonna be balling out with a bad line.
Exactly.
You give him some. So now, if we grab with the first round, get a decent. It's gonna be at least a decent tight end to start right away, or I'm sorry, tackle to start right away. Then in that second round, if you can manage to get this guy, with the way I was looking at him, I doubt he's gonna fall, because I don't think the Bears have a pick until, I think it's like 58, if I'm not mistaken. Pick 58
Mm-hmm.
in the second round. I don't think they're gonna fall, that he's gonna fall that far.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see what happens though. But the guy's looking nice, looking great. That was a great pick for the QB of the week. That was a great Kyle Trask. Now that it's all gonna come down to, I feel like at this point, I don't know if we're gonna make a move on any QB. Like, I don't really see the Bears pulling triggers until after the draft to see what happens. Because if by whatever luck we end up getting a decent guy, they're probably just gonna try to go with a vet like Alex Smith. Like, let's be honest, we know Nagy now, we know Pace.
Yep.
They're gonna go after Alex Smith or somebody who just got released by Washington. So
Yep.
that's when we know for sure what's gonna happen, is after the draft. So, but if they don't get a decent guy, say if they end up going with like Lyman's in the first 2 round picks, which I'm actually cool with that too, to be honest.
Yep.
Go with a QB in the 3rd round. But no less than 3rd round, because then that's gonna be a super project. Like, and we don't need super projects right now. We need a guy that can wow us, Not everybody's Tom Brady. You're not gonna find gold past 3rd round for real.
Heck yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Another thing, I've been hearing a lot of good things about the defensive coordinator. I see that you had a little tab here for our defensive coordinator. Like, I'll be following this thing where it'll like mention like quotes from coaches from the Bears and things like that. And like the way he like talks, he seems like super cool, calm and collected. And he's talking about like, he's kind of like telling the fans, like, don't worry, like, we're gonna bring a little swagger back to the defense. Like, that 2018 swag. where they were walking out there like, "You go do your best because we're gonna shut that down."
Yep.
So I'm actually excited about this defensive coordinator. Have you heard any good things since the last time we talked about him?
Yeah, man. I mean, I just been like watching like his like interviews and stuff that he's had, and it's like I'm liking everything I'm hearing. Like I felt like because he brings up Vic Fangio a lot, and I feel like that's like his number one influence on how he's gonna coach the defense, and that's good because when we had Vic Fangio as our defensive coordinator, that's when we had our best season on defense.
Right.
So, you know, will they be able to recapture that same exact magic? I doubt it. They had like an insane amount of defensive turnovers that year and defensive touchdown. So that's going to be hard to replicate. But I feel like if he really is learned, because he's learned from all the guys that's been there, and he's like, he's slowly moved up the positions. So I feel like, honestly, I feel real good about what he can do as our defensive coordinator. I feel like he's going to learn from the mistakes that some of the other guys, even Fangio, may have made, and like
Right.
maybe improve on them, and do things differently. But from what I've heard from him, like in his interviews, like I'm excited. I got like a clip here of his interview with Jeff Joniak. I'll play that real quick.
Okay, cool.
Players will forever just want to be told, okay, tell me where I need to be, tell me why, and put me in a position to succeed. It sounds cliche, but really, when you boil it all down to the basics, isn't that what we're talking about here? And they come to you already with a lot of those questions. So do you feel you'll be able to command that room?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a question I faced really all my career. Will you be able to command the room? Will you be able to do this? And I think I've proven that time and again in all the different roles I've been in, whether it's been a special teams coordinator, a running back coach, an outside linebacker coach, a quality control, safeties coach, that the commanding of the room and the respect comes from trust, right? It comes from me earning that with the players. And how do they do that? Well, in my experience, they do it through knowledge and all those things that you can provide them in terms of the whys and the hows and for them to see their fit and their vision clearly and how they can succeed within the defense.
Yeah, see, like the guys, I just like that he just seems like so approachable.
Yep.
I mean, we'll see how that ends up turning out for us in the next couple of months. What we got about like 5 months till August or like 6 months. I'm not 100% sure. We're in March now, but I'm excited. I mean, I get excited for every Bears season. That's just how I am. I've been like that since I've been a Bears fan. So
yeah, same.
We switching to the Bulls, or we have anything else that we want to talk about with the Bears?
Yeah, I think we got everything down with the Bears. I know you showed the stats, Russell Wilson compared to Mitchell Trubisky and stuff. Yeah, I think we're good to go.
Okay, cool. So next topic is, can these Bulls make a playoff push?
Do we want to get the guest in here for this one?
Yeah, let's get the guest. While you get the guest, I'm going to pull up their standings right now. So I can show that. So I can show how good of a chance they actually got.
Yeah, that second half schedule though, that's gonna be a beast, boy.
They got what? They got some good teams on there. I gotta take a look at this schedule.
Yeah, man. I got it. I'll name the teams that they got. Oh no, I got it here somewhere. It's yeah. Here we go. They got some serious opponents in the second half of the season. Like, I've seen a lot of playoff teams here. A lot.
It's good. Yes. They obviously they beat a decent team the other day in the Pelicans. So I honestly believe in them. I think they have a good chance of making at least that eighth spot. Now they might get demolished, but it's progress. Because when was the last time we made the playoffs? It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've seen the Bulls in the playoffs, man. I feel like the last time I saw the Bulls in the playoffs was when it was the Cavs versus Derrick Rose and Luol Deng and all them good guys.
Yeah, man. It's like we don't been in this little rebuild type stuff We had Jimmy Butler for a while, and he was doing good with us. You know, when we had that one season, we had Jimmy Butler, Wade, and Rondo. That was a good season.
Yeah.
But I think we finished with 41-41 that year and made it to the playoffs.
And like you said, if Rondo would have not got hurt, we would have got deep in the playoffs. Because Rondo was hooping for us, man.
Yeah, man, that kind of messed them up when he got hurt like that first game. That first game kind of screwed everything up because, you know, he got hurt, and then after that, they just weren't the same. But, you know, this year it's going to, man, I hope they can make it, but I'm telling you, man, this second half schedule is tough. So, like, I'll name a few of the teams. Like, they start off with Philadelphia on Thursday. They got Miami. Well, let's get our guest in here, and then he can discuss it with us.
All right, cool. What's going on, Josh? How you doing, brother?
Man. Chilling.
I see you got a new background today. Where you streaming from today?
My girl crib, chilling.
Oh, okay, bet. We'll make it quick so you get back to your Netflix and chilling, you know. But yeah, so the discussion is right now is if we think the Bulls can make a playoff push, and EJ was about to name some of the teams that they got in the second half going.
Yep. So they start off with Philadelphia this Thursday. Now I don't know if Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons is going to play that game, but you know we'll see. They got Miami. Miami hasn't been as good so far this year, but you know they're starting to like pick up pace. Toronto, another team that's like kind of down this year, but they've had their moments too. Oklahoma City, that should be a win. San Antonio's doing pretty decent this year. Denver, that's going to be a tough game. Detroit,
And they just lost to Denver the other day.
yeah, they got Detroit coming up. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Utah, best record in the league. Cleveland, if you're not careful, they can beat you. Another game at San Antonio. They got Golden State. Golden State, they already lost to Golden State earlier this year. Phoenix, a surprise team this year.
And Phoenix is hot right now.
Yes. And that's at Phoenix. Then they got right after at Phoenix, at Utah.
Damn.
Then they come back home. Guess who they playing? The Brooklyn Nets. So I just named off like 10 games. That's the next 10 games. That's gonna be rough, man. That's gonna be rough.
And then they got like 3 back-to-backs of good teams, elite teams.
14
I don't
games.
know. I'll let Josh go ahead and comment on this, man. How you feeling about the chances after all them teams that he named?
I mean, looking at the teams he named, like there's a few he had. I think they could beat. Like when you talk about the Suns, like they got CP3, they got Devin Booker and all that. But it's like you look at the rest of the roster. I like CP3 is really what elevated that team. I know Jay Crowder, he's a good player. He elevated them a little bit, but like you look at the Suns lineup. Zach LaVine and Devin Booker, they match up pretty nicely together. And CP3, when we're facilitating that team, you got DeAndre Ayton. So it's like that's the 3 people you got to worry about. You put DeAndre Ayton in check, who can probably put up like 15, something like that point. Can you put CP3 up to like 20? You only got to worry about Devin Booker. So the Bulls realistically can beat the Suns. It's just a matter of them playing like to their full potential. Because a lot of times they come out slow out the gate, and then they want to start picking it up like maybe in the second half, or they'll start off good in the first half, and the second half they just disappear. So like all the teams he named, can you name off that list again for me? Because like I heard some of them, like the audio was cutting out.
Well, I'll just throw out a few of the good teams. So they start off with Philly.
They can
Miami.
beat things. I don't think Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, I don't think they playing, but go ahead.
Philly, Miami, Toronto, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Denver, Detroit, Utah, Cleveland, San Antonio again, at Golden State, at Phoenix, at Utah, and then Brooklyn. Those are the teams I named.
They better beat Cleveland. Because like Cleveland ain't really got them. They got Colin Sexton who's been balling out this year. So it's like,
yeah, I like him.
Say, out of like the 10 teams you named, like that, and with the Suns being on there, you said twice or once.
They got the Suns. I think they're
Utah twice.
2 times. Yeah, Utah's on here twice, and they got the Suns. I named the Suns 1 time.
Utah, I don't think they're gonna be able to beat them. Like they've been playing too well this season. Like Utah's
I
like
agree.
top in the West right now. So like if they beat Utah, okay, I'll be very surprised. Like no offense to the team, but Utah been balling out. But it comes to the Cavaliers, that is like a must win for them because they got Colin Sexton, that other dude. I think they just like traded something like that because he had a fight in the locker room, something like that. But like I say, out of like the 10 games you name, they could probably win at least 4 to 5 of them games. And out of that 4 or 5 they win, they could probably be either at 500 or just slightly below it because like they are like right. I think they're like what 3 games or something like that behind right now.
They're 16 and 18 right now.
So
Yeah, this
they could be there. It's a matter of them playing consistent.
I agree. And they played some of those teams that you named. They can't even that the last stretch. I think you named like it was like the Suns and then Utah. I forgot. I think like Brooklyn and then Utah, or like Utah and then Brooklyn. That's gonna be the toughest stretch for me. That I think that's really gonna show if they can at least win 2 of those games. They got a great shot at making the playoffs. If they get swept, and there'd be like literally no point on them making the playoffs because if you get swept, that kind of shows you that once you face the number 1 team, because they're probably gonna get the AFC, you're probably gonna get swept because 4 elite teams, if you playing back to back to back, and you get swept, I don't think you're gonna do good against an elite team that's just focusing on you for 4 straight games.
Exactly. Totally agree with you on that. Totally agree.
You said Detroit in there too, right?
Yeah, they got Detroit.
If they don't beat Detroit, they got some real problems because they ain't even got Blake Griffin no more.
Yeah,
Their
yeah.
goals is gone. That
Did you
team
guys
ain't
hear
got
about that?
nothing. He went to the Nets, man. Front
going
run.
to the Nets.
Front run. He just trying to get that ring, man. Forget Blake Griffin, bro. I just lost respect for that man. Just like KD when he went to the Warriors, man. Forget that dude.
And they were talking about that he hasn't dunked in over 2 years.
Damn,
Yeah,
really?
he has not had one dunk this season.
That was the stat of the day, that Blake Griffin has not had a dunk in over 2 years. The man has played 39 games in the last 2 seasons and has no dunks. Like, the man was known as a high flyer when he first came into the league. Like, you would watch Clipper games only to see how many nasty dunks Blake Griffin was going to get off. So it's like, that goes to show that them injuries, man, they really play a toll. And players like LeBron, he should be thankful that he ain't never suffered no significant injury, bro.
Yeah, for real.
It's just crazy. But I wanted to show right now where the Bulls are at as far as the standings.
That's
So
funny.
this is
I
what
was
I
actually
got right
looking
now.
at it.
This is where they're at right now. You see, me and EJ were talking about before the show started that A spot is clearly up for grabs. Like, you win, they have the Raptors right on their schedule. I feel like they can win that. The Hornets, they've already beat them, so we have no problem with them. I feel like we can honestly get all the way up to the 6th seed with the way, because we're 3 wins away and 3 losses from the Heat from us switching positions. Look, literally, we go off 3 games in a row. They lose 3 in a row. We're the 6th seed. So like this, the East is so weak that it's no telling what's gonna happen. But like I'm saying, like the odds of them actually doing good once we get in there, it might be another Bears thing where it's like, you guys should just suck and we'll try to get another lottery pick.
Yeah, man. I mean, you look at the East, like they're 7 games behind the number 1 seed. Like the East is like, go from all the way from 4. The top 3 teams are a little spread from the other teams. But look for all the way from 4 all the way down to 10. Actually, you can go down to 11. Just look how close these teams are. Like the Hawks are 11th right now. They're 16 and 20. The Celtics are 19 and 17. So it's like teams, and I don't seen it. The Bulls, like a couple of weeks ago, they were like 5th. Like they went up all the way up to 5th, but then they lost and then they dropped down. And it's going to be like that for a while because all the teams are so close in record. So it's like right now, the second half of the season, you cannot have any like 3-game losing streaks. You have like a 3-game losing streak, and some team has like a 3-game winning streak. It's like, well, you got some catching up to do. So it's like they're gonna have to stay consistent the second half, but it's gonna be hard. The schedule's no joke. Like I know some of these teams that we'll name, like Toronto and Detroit. The Bulls have had, and I've watched like literally every game. The only game that I've missed this season was against Denver, and that's because I like fell asleep early. But I've seen like literally every game this season. And I'm telling you, even the bad teams the Bulls have had problems with. They almost lost to the Timberwolves. Go see what the Timberwolves record is. They are trash. So it's like it can literally, honestly, every game for them, it could be like it's a coin flip. Like they're better, but they sometimes they play down to the opponents, even as teams that they should beat. Like they could easily beat Detroit, but if they go out there and like don't play defense and give up easy they give up easy baskets, and then they don't hit their own shots, that they can lose to Detroit. I've seen them do stupid stuff like that this season. So it's like, it's literally, I'm keep my hopes up, but it's gonna be hard for them to make it to the playoffs. Like even as close as the East, the bottom half of the East is, that schedule is rough, man. They got a lot of playoff teams. It's gonna be hard for them to beat them. Like real talk.
I would agree with you on that. Like, I mean, you look at it like you were saying, like any team, like it can fluctuate so much up in there, and it's like I honestly think, like I think you said it, Michael, they could legit be like in the 6th seed. They could beat Toronto, they could beat Charlotte, they could darn near beat Miami. You just put some clamps on Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, and it's like you just got to worry about the rest of the supporting cast doing something. Like the Bulls got to that level, they can do it. It's like if they really beat Philadelphia coming up, if Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons ain't playing, they lose Philadelphia, I'll lose all hope. I hope the Bulls get the playoffs like you said, but we all know they're gonna lose in the first round. But it's all good. At least they got there. But it's like I really think that they have that potential to do that because like Toronto, I keep hearing Kyle Lowry might be out the picture. They talk about trading him. Charlotte, we can definitely beat them. Like I said, Miami is just really gonna be the only problem. New York is playing good, but I feel like the Bulls. Honestly speaking, I feel like the Bulls are on the same talent level as New York. They just don't play as consistent as New York does this at least this season. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you look at the Bulls roster, you look at New York's roster, it's like Julius Randle just came out of nowhere and having a good season. So it's like they have probably the amount of talent on that team. It's just a matter of that talent acting like they know what they're doing out there every game. And I don't know if Lauri Markkanen is coming back in these next upcoming games, but if he comes back, they definitely should be able to beat some of these teams. And the Bulls have been really linked up to getting DeAndre Drummond recently because he's been talking about getting traded. So they can pick him up as a good rebounder and that post person. They can definitely step up on their defensive end. That way they can start beating some of these teams.
And I was going to ask that. When is the trade deadline? Because if they're still linking people to us, when is the trade deadline? I thought it was always before All-Star Weekend, and that was just Sunday.
It's March 25th.
Oh, okay. So they got time, and we've been talking about this for like a month and a half now, EJ, on this show about them trying to get somebody to help Zach LaVine. And dude, March 25th is like less than 20 days from now.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna pull it. I really don't. I know that the Warriors have been linked to wanting Otto Porter, but what are we gonna get back? Nothing. It's like, I don't know what like I don't know if I like what's going on as far as Zach LaVine just doing all the work. He's not LeBron where he's gonna elevate everybody else. Cause if you would have put LeBron James same prime years as Zach LaVine is now, that's like how he was with the Cavs, but he elevated that team to a playoff, playoff first, was beating teams. So clearly Zach LaVine is not LeBron. But he still had somebody to go to help him. Ilgauskas. I don't know, you remember them Zerbiak days.
They had what's his name? Gibson, what's his name?
Yeah, Daniel Gibson. So he had like a couple of guys that were splash players where they would have their games. They would have a couple good games, and the Bulls have they have a couple of guys like that too. But like I'm saying, it's just Zach LaVine. It's like I don't know if he has that extra it's not a gear. It's just like either you got it or you don't. It's like, can you make other people around you better? Like Kevin Durant technically doesn't have that. I mean, like, yes, Kevin Durant will make somebody better, but Kevin Durant has never won a ring without having other superstars next to him.
Yeah.
Or even taking a team that, like, he hasn't proven that. Just long story short, just to wrap this up, what I'm trying to say is, like, what we keep stressing every show is the guy needs help. And at this point, the Bulls, they have the money that they can go and get anybody that they want. It's just whether or not the person wants to come over here. They only got 19 something days to do it. Andre Drummond, I don't know. Do you think that guy will really help Zach LaVine the way Zach LaVine needs help? Yes, he's gonna get boards, but we need a guy that's like, we're gonna give him the ball when Zach LaVine is getting double teamed. You're not gonna give Andre Drummond the ball when Zach LaVine is getting double teamed. So it's like,
they
it
need a
doesn't.
good 3 guard.
They
That's
yeah,
what
they
they
need exactly. They need a good 3 guard. And there's plenty of players out there, to be honest. They just gotta make a deal with somebody, you know. But there is somebody out there. I'm gonna start doing the math because we got like about 19 days. So next show, I'm gonna see who I come up with. But who else have you guys been hearing getting linked to the Bulls?
Not too much, honestly. I know it was DeAndre Drummond, but other than that, I ain't really been hearing nobody else, to be honest with you. What about you, EJ?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been hearing like too many people being linked. Like, I don't know what they have, if they have any plans to make any moves. Like, I actually recently heard that, I think it was today, that Andre Drummond might get bought out, and one of the teams that he might talk to or take calls from is the Lakers. So I actually heard about that today.
Damn. So
So
he
who,
not even looking at the Bulls then.
yeah, so he might not even end up in Chicago to begin with. But like you said, Michael, like, that's not going to be like the be all end all for us anyway. That's not going to solve the problem that we need. We do need somebody that's going to be a second consistent scorer next to Zach LaVine, and honestly, we don't have it. Like Wendell Carter Jr., he'll play. He's been playing pretty decent since he came back. But you get Wendell Carter Jr., he'll have like a game where he puts up like double-digit points, double-digit rebounds, but then he'll like disappear at another game. Same thing with Kobe White. Kobe White's been all up and down the whole season. Then Larry Marketing, when he came back the first time, he actually came back and he played really well for a while. But he's gone and he has his moments too where he just disappears. So it's like, you don't know. Like,
Yeah.
they're just not consistent. Like, we got Patrick Williams, but that's literally, he's a project. Like, he shows
Right.
flashes, but he's still a young player. Like,
And he's mainly like inside player anyway. So it's like he's definitely a project because it's gonna take a while for him to get that nice 3 going. Because I
yeah,
mean, all bigs, everybody in the NBA now shoots threes.
literally
If you don't
everybody.
come out being able to shoot threes, you're gonna learn how to shoot threes. So I'm not too worried about Williams because he's, like you said, he's gonna take time. We'll see what happens, man. I honestly don't think we're gonna go get anybody, and we'll probably, if
I'd
we
be
end up
shocked.
getting the 8th seed, we're gonna get bounced out real early on.
Y'all think the Bulls is gonna get Lonzo Ball, because they've been talking about him with Lonzo Ball like for months for the Bulls. Like, I don't know if that'll even help them. A good facilitating guard would definitely help elevate the Bulls because, like I said, Kobe White, he's on and off, but he's not a facilitator. That man be trying to score versus
Right.
getting the offense to score. Lonzo Ball is a pass first, shoot second person, which the Bulls realistically kind of need because, like,
Right.
when we had like a Rajon Rondo, that man was facilitating the ball, and it was pretty good. They went 41-41 that season, but I feel like the Bulls really are missing on that facilitator to let Larry Markin and Zach LaVine, whoever it may be, like, shine, because Kobe White's trying to shine at the same time all these other players trying to shine too.
Right. Instead of trying to get them. Yeah, I see your point though. Like, he plays like that. You're right, because most of the highlights you'll see him is he's taking like risky shots, or he's trying to drive it, on big tall trees instead of passing it to the guy that's cutting. I mean, he'll make it, don't get me wrong, but it's like there's an easier play to be made.
Right.
And maybe it's because he's still young and he wants to prove that he can score and he belongs in the NBA. I'm sure a lot of guys go through that, especially being a point guard when you're supposed to be a passer. You want to show that, like, hey, I can score too. I don't want to be fizzled out of the offense. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on with him. I'm seeing a little bit more consistency. I was telling EJ, and we'll see what happens though.
Right.
With that, man, we'll just wrap up today. I appreciate you being on the show. We'll do some shout outs.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Do some shout outs. I'm gonna go first today. I'm gonna shout out Eric. He was on the comments earlier. He gave you a comment. I don't know if you saw it, Josh.
Yeah, Eric, it's me. I'm looking all old, you know what I'm saying, with the stuff on my face. Probably used to the baby face. Yeah, it's me.
So shout out Eric, man, for watching the show today. Shout out you for coming out to the show and talking to us, man. I appreciate that. Who you want to shout out today?
I want to shout out my girl, you know what I'm saying? She's holding down over there for us, you know what I'm saying? While I'm sitting there chilling with y'all, doing all this. I want to shout out y'all yet again, you know what I'm saying? For having me on, appreciate having me on. Let me get my perspective on things. I watch y'all share every week, you know what I'm saying? I like to see y'all popping out there and like showing out this feedback. I listen to y'all like, man, that got some real stuff right there. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, bro. Really do, man. And I know you can be doing 1,000,001 things better. So appreciate you taking the time to watch us out, man. How about you, EJ? Who you got today?
Let me shout out the wife. You know, she's watching the kids right now. Shout out to Eric. You know, next time we try to get him on, so we can talk Bears. I want to talk some Bears with him, but you know, shout out to Josh for being the guest. Always appreciate my brother. Shout out you, Michael. Always be holding it down. And yeah, that's it.
That's it, man. And to next week, hopefully we talking Bears got Russell Wilson already.
Please. God, I'm asking you for one thing. Let me get that quarterback, please.